Big moment for Sean Pedulla and the Ole Miss Rebels. They beat Arkansas. It wasn't pretty at times, but Ole Miss got the W. March Madness is here. This is the Locked On Ole Miss Podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is a basketball game that had a ton of storylines, and Sean Pedulla ended up being the hero, even though this not being a game that he's going to put on his resume tape other than that last shot. Hello, I'm Steven Willis, and this is the Locked On Ole Miss Podcast. We are reacting to Ole Miss's buzzer-beating win over the Arkansas Razorbacks 83-80. It was a fantastic win. Ole Miss got it done. In the middle part of the game, Arkansas went on like a 33 or 35-11 run to erase a 15-point deficit and turn that into a 7-point Arkansas lead. And Ole Miss was able to come back, get it even. And at the very end of the game, they got a 3-point play. Arkansas is going to rue the fact that they fouled on a 2-point shot that could have put them up, but still by a point. Ole Miss ended up tying the game 80-80. They fouled Trevin Brazile. He shot 2 free throws. He missed 2 free throws, and Sean Pedulla went down and hit the 3-point shot to win the game. It was March. It was everything that Ole Miss fans have been wanting March Madness to be about. And this was a really cool game because I know that you get caught in the heat of the moment, and there's going to be Eeyore fans, and there's going to be people that try to add meaning into any situation, and they want to win everything that they absolutely play. But this was a game that the only thing that could happen bad was nothing. If Ole Miss lost the game, they were a 6 or a 7 seed. If they won the game, they were a 6 or a 7 seed. That's just the way it was going to be. You were going to try and set meaning in there and try and control the reactions of other players, but Ole Miss reality set in and they didn't have that. But Ole Miss, the basketball team, as opposed to the fan base, because this is the attitude of the fan base. The basketball team's going to win the freaking tournament. That's what Chris Beard said. I'm here to win the tournament. This is a 4-game tournament in my mind. That is the way Chris Beard looks at it. And to do that, you had to win the Arkansas game as the first leg of that tournament. And next, his big reward, the Auburn Tigers. And we're going to spend time talking about that. I'm going to try to do a crossover that releases tonight with Zach Blackerby about that Auburn game. That's the plan. Zach had to take his wife to the hospital. So that would be the reason that it doesn't happen and you have a normal show. Either way, we're going to preview the Auburn game considerably after this. And also we have an interview coming up a little bit later on today that has a chance to be pretty special as well. Not going to tell anybody about that until it gets recorded. So Ole Miss, at the beginning of the game, they dominated the first half. Save one little run that Arkansas went on. Ole Miss dominated the first half of the game, building a 15-point lead. The defense was suffocating. They weren't turning over the ball, and they were rebounding pretty well. Then Arkansas really turned up the pressure on defense to where Ole Miss started turning over the ball. Ole Miss ended up with 11 turnovers for the game. And Ole Miss was losing the rebound battle. At one point, Ole Miss was down. They were minus 12 or something like that on the boards. That's not the way it finished up, because if Ole Miss finishes within 10 rebounds of the opponent and takes care of the ball, they win the game. Doesn't matter who they're playing. If they can do that, they win the game. And Ole Miss was able to, at the end of the game, at winning time, put together some good basketball. Now, they missed some free throws. They had some 1 of 2s at the free throw lines that they're probably going to look to clean up, but it didn't bite them in this game. It could bite them a little bit later on in March. It didn't bite them in this game. So when we come back, we are going to do a little box score cleaning, little box score cleanup. And then in the third segment, we are going to take your comments. So if you comment, remember to comment where you're commenting from so I can shout that out and we can all celebrate this buzzer-beating win. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It is your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just manage, you don't just manage your money. You can start building wealth. When I started using Monarch Money, it was really cool because my bank accounts are on there. My investment portfolio is on there. I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now I budget smarter and save a little bit more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, even set long-term planning goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever as well. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for $50 off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right. Are you looking to optimize your nutrition this season? Factor makes eating well with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With the 40 options across dietary preferences every single week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and grab-and-go snacks to help keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. Example, I've tried their protein plus meals. I even shared them with my brother-in-law, who is now hooked on Factor as well. There's no press. Its convenience is unbeatable, and it's just great food in minutes. So eat smart with Factor. Get started with factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off and use code LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's LockedOnCollege50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. All right, so let's do a little box score house cleaning. We do this everything. We're going to do this for 3 or 4 minutes. Then we'll take your comments. Remember, if you comment, put where you're commenting from so I can shout you out and talk about that, because we are literally the fans from all over. This is a game Ole Miss won 83-80. They had a 15-point lead at some point in the first half. At the very end of the half, Arkansas went on a quick 7-0 run, and all of a sudden it was an 8-point game at halftime. Then Arkansas just kept chipping, and Ole Miss couldn't seemingly find the basket at all. And when you look at the stats, it shows you how well they shot at other parts of the game, because Ole Miss shot 46.9% from the field in this game. 8 of 24 from three-pointers, 11 turnovers. That was a problem. When Arkansas was making their comeback, it was because the turnovers for Ole Miss was up, and Ole Miss only lost the rebounding battle 38-32. But when Arkansas was coming back, the rebounds also, there was a much greater differences. Ole Miss had 20 fouls in the game. Arkansas shot 46.4%, 7 of 22 from three, 15 turnovers in the game. In the early part of the game, Ole Miss's defense was really, really good, really suffocating. 38 rebounds for the Arkansas Razorbacks, 17 fouls. Arkansas had 5 players out of their 7 in double figures, and the other one, DJ Wagner, had 9 points. And a lot of those were at the foul line. They were paced by Jonas Adu, who fouled out with about 5 minutes to go in the game, and when he fouled out, they lost the game. That's the point where Arkansas lost the game. Billy Richmond, I really enjoy watching him play basketball, had 15 points as well. Trevon Brazile had 15 points. Carter Knox had 14. John L. Davis, Nelly Davis had 10. DJ Wagner, 9. And Zvonimir Ivisic had 0 points. And in the second half, you could tell that Calipari just did not want to play him. If Billy Richmond would have gotten a 5th foul, if somebody would have gone down, it would have been over in that situation as well. They are so thin at the moment. They played really, really hard, but they are so thin at the moment that it just struggled for them. And you would like to see it get a little bit better for the Arkansas Razorbacks, but they need to get a little bit healthy. Now, I will say this. It looks like Adu Thero and Boogie Flan could be back for the NCAA tournament, which means this Arkansas team is not going to be an 11 seed that teams want to see the longer that the team goes on in the tournament. This is a good athletic basketball team with a lot of players that are going to be playing in the NBA. This was a good win for Ole Miss in an 8-9 game. Arkansas won 5 out of their last 8 games. They won 8 out of their last 13 after an 0-5 start to get to the point where they're comfortably in the NCAA tournament. Cal's best coaching job was likely this season. So give John Neighbors over at Locked On Razorbacks, reach out to him, tell him you feel bad for him because that's a game where they really played well. This Arkansas team is better than their record indicates. And Ole Miss going 2-0 against them, winning in Fayetteville and then winning on a neutral surface, that is a big deal and a massive resume line as well. Another quad 1 win for the Ole Miss Rebels with the Arkansas Tigers on deck. And that's going to be a big game for Ole Miss. This is the third freest of the free shots against the Arkansas Tigers. And if Ole Miss can, not the Arkansas Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, and if you can get to the point where you beat Auburn, that might be the only bad thing that can happen in this ballgame. Now, I'm serious. The only bad thing that can come from losing to Auburn is nothing. The only bad thing that can come from the game is beating Auburn because of the chance you could end up on that 5 line to where you have to see a number 1 seed in the Sweet 16 as opposed to the Elite 8. That's the only, if you want to nitpick, that's the bad thing that is out there right now. Ole Miss has a point with the way they play defense, the way they have different people that can kind of carry the team, the matchup problems that they have. They can be problematic depending on the matchup each and every single week. They could be a handful to deal with. And Ole Miss, you can bet all the teams in the NCAA right now are fighting over who gets to be in Duke's bracket. Let Duke be the number 1 seed because at that point you have to think that number 2 is going to be somebody that can win that bracket. For those that don't know, Cooper Flagg had to be wheeled off the field court against Georgia Tech after an injury in the first half. I think he came back in the game, but he rolled up on his ankle pretty severe, and there's no way that he can be 100%. And when Cooper Flagg is not 100%, Duke is not good, particularly. So we'll see exactly how that goes, but Ole Miss has a chance. If they can get to that Duke bracket, maybe with a Tennessee or an Alabama as the 2, you'd have a bracket that is manageable all of a sudden for Ole Miss and March Madness. Now, there's also a chance that they end up with the Florida bracket or, something like that. But I think Ole Miss prefers Michigan State or Duke as a 1 seed or maybe Houston. Houston, they play every single preseason in the super secret scrimmages that they have, and they never find out. Ole Miss ended up tying them in this preseason. But Houston plays a lot of defense, and they match up fairly well with the Houston Cougars. Ole Miss does. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Anyway, when we come back, your comments. We'll talk about everybody and why they're celebrating this big win for the Ole Miss Rebels, getting ready for the Auburn Tigers. We'll talk about that next. This is a message from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting, wondering, and worrying if you were going to get any money back at all. Then waiting and wondering and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. So also you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. This is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. It's only available with the TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates, only available on the iOS mobile app, and see guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantee. All right, so let's go into the comments section and find out what's going on. There's going to be a lot of people excited. I do believe that, and see what everybody's talking about. Usual first commenter, always respected, is KR Millam. He had a great win, 6 or 7 seed likely now, Steven. And he is from New Albany, Mississippi. Yes, I think that right now Ole Miss is locked into a 6 seed. And they're going to be able to get, no matter what happens against Auburn, they're probably locked into that 6 line. And like I've said for 2 weeks, that was kind of the Goldilocks zone, in my opinion. Now, like I said, Chris Beard, they're coming up here with the intention of winning the tournament because that's the way they are. And that's good. The fan base can have a different mentality than the team. The team should not be influenced by the fan base at all. That's one of the biggest traps in the world. So the team coming up to win the tournament, good. I want to come out against the Auburn Tigers and completely ball out. Auburn's lost 2 games in a row. Maybe you can catch them a little bit off guard. They've got a little bit of a controversy right now with Chad Baker-Mazar. Maybe you get that win against the Auburn Tigers. If you win that game, there's a chance you could move up to the 5 line. But I do think that even if Ole Miss won the tournament, they're probably at the 6. I think they're just where they are at the moment. And that's a really big deal of what's going on. Pete says, Sean Pedulla will be the face of March Madness. I think we locked up a 6 seed. Would rather stay there than move up to a 5 and have a number 1 seed on our side of the bracket. Brilliant minds, Pete. Pete from West Memphis. Okay, Ned, that's pretty good. Caleb Lester, Hottie Toddy, Caleb from Memphis on that one. They're all the people are going to be very excited about what has happened in this ball game. Again, we're going to run through these comments and we're going to do whatever, but since this is a tournament, we're going to have a live tomorrow night as well. It probably won't be the full 30 minutes. So if we run out of time, run out of comments, we'll just go ahead and shut the lives short. And like I said, I'm trying to set it up to where we can do a crossover with Zach Blackerby from Locked On Auburn and find out what's going on there. So we'll see what can happen with that. Zachary Turber said he had the whole office going crazy in Dallas, especially with Pedulla. That was the very much a this is March type moment. And that's always very fun because at the end of the day, you know, you want buzzer beaters. You want those exciting plays because let's be real about something. The first day of the SEC tournament was not good. You had Arkansas getting out to like a 25-point lead against South Carolina. Yes, it got tight at the end, but that's after people turned off their TV. And then Mississippi State won by 35, and Vanderbilt got beat by Texas by more than 10, and that was kind of a game that was – yesterday was not a very good day. You're going to hear ESPN and all the talking heads talk about how good the SEC tournament – day 1 was not good. Now, day 2, off to a really good start with the buzzer beater win by Sean Pedulla. So we'll see if that. Del Beaver says if we'd lost, we'd have probably fallen to an 8 seed. No, they wouldn't. Ole Miss would not have fallen with a quad 1 win. If we win game 1, we get a 1 seed and get a 1 seed in the second round. We needed this win. Ole Miss was not going to hit an 8 seed, no matter what you think. Ole Miss was not going to hit. The only way they could have potentially, maybe, possibly hit an 8 seed is if South Carolina was on the other side. A loss to Arkansas absolutely wouldn't do it. Now, people, like I said, have tried a sign meeting, but Ole Miss was not going to get an 8. It was a done deal. Javon Campbell from New Orleans. How about them cardiac rebels? Ole Miss basically gave this game away. Yeah, this was a very frustrating game. This was a very frustrating game. And in the first half, the first 15 minutes of the game, Ole Miss completely dominated it. The defensive side of the ball, Arkansas could do nothing. They just completely dominated the game. And then all of a sudden, Arkansas went on that little run, started to get a little feel good, kind of proceeded to have a 10-minute period where Ole Miss scored 11 points and took a 15-point deficit and turned it into a 7-point lead. For those that don't know, that's a 23-point turnaround. No, that's a 22-point turnaround. Simpson County math, excuse me. So Ole Miss figuring out what's going on. And surprisingly, it was when Sean Pedulla picked up his 4th foul. That was the moment that Ole Miss turned around. The Eduardo Klafke 3-point shot was kind of the difference in this ball game and waking the Ole Miss Rebels up. And his work on the defensive side of the ball, it cannot be understated at all. Klafke was absolutely fairly instrumental in this game. And that 3-point shot he made at the end of the shot clock was absolutely huge. That took it from a 7-point game to a 4-point game, and it was game on. Klafke, underrated in this game. Malik Dia also, the way he started out the game, that shouldn't be understated as well. Let's see. Arkansas just couldn't close it out. That's correct. Javon Campbell going forward, Ole Miss needs to recruit some size. Chris Beard's not going to recruit size that much. I know John Bowl is a different story, but most of the forwards, you're going to see a whole lot of 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and 6'8", 1 through 4 in their lineup, and they're hoping for some rim protection from a big. And I think they're going to kind of do the same thing. You're right. It was almost humorous how much trouble they had rebounding the basketball. And again, Auburn's a horrible matchup for Ole Miss with their front court. Anybody that has a really good, really big, really active front court, it's going to be problematic for the Ole Miss front line. As just the way it is. It is what it is. You can't really fight it. There's going to be Ole Miss needing to go small from time to time because of the inability to go big. They can't go big. B Nasty says Malik Dia owns Arkansas. Yes, he has the deed to Fayetteville at this point. Jay Spoon, if I could join Matthew Morrell's physical gifts with Sean Pedulla's mental makeup into one player, that guy would make a lot of money playing basketball. Yeah, that would basically be Kobe, I think, at that point, because the mental toughness of Sean Pedulla, that's multiple buzzer beaters he's essentially hit this year. Big shots, he wants to take them. He doesn't shy away from that moment. And because of that, this team is never out of it, especially a game like this. It's going to be hard to beat Ole Miss because of the way they play defense and the way they never let you take a full run. Ole Miss played as bad as they possibly could for a third or fourth of this game. It was terrible. It was awful. Going from a 15-point lead to a 7-point deficit over the course of 10 minutes, that tells you how badly they played from about the 2-minute mark in the first half to about the 11-minute mark of the game. Maybe even a little longer than that. Might go down all the way to the 8-minute mark. But once Klafke hit that 3 and they kind of loosened up a little bit, you saw Juju Murray kind of taking advantage of what was going on. Ole Miss started making buckets again. And once they started making buckets and getting to the foul line and kind of doing the things that makes them good, you had a chance to where the game completely turned. And when Jonas Adu fouled out of the game, Ole Miss kind of down low. All of a sudden, they had Trayvon Brazile. They just need to take advantage of him, and they did that with a high pick. They would move Malik Dia to the top of the key, take all their height out of the lane, and then Ole Miss became really effective with Dre Davis and Matthew Morrell and those guys. So, yeah. But you're right, though. If you could join Matt Morrell's physical gift with Sean Pedulla's mental makeup, that'd be one heck of a basketball player. Javon Campbell, the Cooper Flagg injury may impact Broome playing time. I do not think so because Auburn is so weird. If it was another team, maybe. I do not think Auburn because they're weird. And I don't mean weird in a negative way. They're probably walking into this SEC tournament wanting to win it and then win the NCAA tournament. They want to win every ball game. They literally have a football mindset when it comes to basketball at the moment, and that's pretty awesome. Gary Allen said a win is a win, and he is absolutely correct. Even if the third of the or the fourth of the game was not what you would want it to be, Ole Miss getting the win, that's very big for the program. And Zachary Turbin says it doesn't get much more free than this free shot versus Auburn. Yeah, there's literally nothing wrong that can happen. Ole Miss is probably locked into a 6 seed in this game. And if you win, honestly, the only bad thing that can happen is beating Auburn and slipping into the 5 line, depending on the other tournaments that are going on as well. Should be pretty interesting. We'll see exactly how that goes. Anyway, we're going to shut it off right there. We'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. So if you tuned in today, tune in to tomorrow. We'll talk about the Ole Miss Auburn game and get ready for the basketball game the next day if Ole Miss beats Auburn, or get ready for March Madness. Bracket breakdown on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. You can tune into that, starting with the selection show. That's going to be about 34 games or 34 shows that they're putting on that channel, including yours truly might be a part of that. We'll see exactly how that goes, but bracket breakdown is all you have to do is get on there and say, tell Alexa, open bracket breakdown, and they will do that for you. It's pretty cool. And Andy Patton and Isaac Shade and those guys, Gordon Haywood, a big pro analyst that's going to be there. It's just a different way to follow March Madness. So tune in to that. Again, I'm going to try and see if we can't get Zach Blackerby before tomorrow's game and release tomorrow's show at like 7:00 tonight so that it has time to breathe a little bit since the game is at noon. And then we'll have the post-game show after that. And potentially, I'm hoping to get a pretty big interview over the course of the weekend. So I hope everybody has a good day. Enjoy the basketball game that's going on, and we will talk to you later.